Welcome to Dodgers Dawgs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. The Dodgers had a crazy game last night. And hey, we're going to do things a little bit different today in honor of the Dodgers losing, needing to change some things up. We're going to change some things up here at Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. We're going to have our Down on the Farm segment first. So we're going to talk about the action down on the farm here after this break. And then we're going to bring in Coach Holt. And Coach Holt's going to talk all about the Dodgers game last night. So without that, let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it. Let's take a trip down the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. Going to start with AA Tulsa. Going to come out firing. Told you, we're going to be changing it up today. We're going to change the juju after that game last night with the Dodgers and the Cubs. And this is Clayton Kershaw, and he is pitching for the AA Tulsa Drillers, not the AAA Oklahoma City Comets. AAA Oklahoma City's in Salt Lake. So for one, you would think that it's it's like a 2.5 hour bus ride, maybe to Northwest Arkansas. So just take that quick bus ride. You can get back to Oklahoma City or Tulsa, wherever camp is for Clayton Kershaw. So you would think from a travel perspective, that's why he chose AA. But then again, here's another couple of things that I really think the Dodgers took into consideration with this. One is you have all the TrackMan data you just like anywhere else at the AA level, but it's not made public. So, Clayton Kershaw, the velo's 87, 88 or whatever it has been, he's going to have access to his TrackMan data, but guys like me won't, or anybody else, so we can't just sit there and overanalyze it and make too big of a deal out of velo or whatever it may be. So he gets all the benefits of TrackMan, but without all the downfalls of guys like me overanalyzing every single move. And then another big aspect of this last night, why I think the AA Tulsa Drillers was the play, is that Jackson Ferris also pitched in this game. And so, being one of the best young left-handers in the game, that they wanted Clayton Kershaw to be in the dugout when Jackson Ferris pitched. And so Jackson Ferris did not have a good outing last night. So, but that's here nor there. I mean, that's one minor league outing. But it had to be a really cool experience, a real, just kind of a eye-opener for Jackson Ferris to get to sit there and talk to Clayton Kershaw during his entire, probably had a little bit of nerves, that kind of thing. So I think the fact that he can go down and mentor Jackson Ferris, then also he has the TrackMan, but it wouldn't be made public like it would be if he was at the AAA level. And then obviously the travel is, the reasons why Clayton Kershaw got the ball last night for AA Tulsa and not AAA Oklahoma City. So a good outing for him. He went 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Baseball is awesome. You have this Hall of Fame guy, and he's pitching to AA hitters, and the first 2 out of 3 hitters had doubles, and one of them being Jack Caglione that I've mentioned a couple of times on this show, how I saw him in Stillwater last year and just how good he is. So we're on our way back with Clayton Kershaw through last night with the AA Tulsa Drillers and had a good outing. So second rehab outing. Good to see him back on the mound. And boy, don't you know, it was a special night last night for one Mr. Griffin Lockwood Powell. Griffin Lockwood Powell got to catch Clayton Kershaw last night, which is really cool. I mean, you're talking about a kid from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I mean, come on, went to Central Michigan. Not every kid that grows up in Sioux Falls, very few people actually get to catch a Hall of Famer. So, that was a lot of fun for Griffin Lockwood Powell. And then in front of the Hall of Famer, Griffin Lockwood Powell had 3 hits. He had a home run, he had that single, and he also had a double, and it is absolutely no surprise whatsoever that he's using the big part of the field, the middle of the field, right center. That's the focus. If you go back to our interview with him in the offseason, that is always its focus, is that opposite field gap, no doubt about that. And so a big night for a night that Griffin Lockwood Powell will never forget. And then Damon Keith had another big night last night. This guy, he needs to get a helmet that fits. Every time he swings the bat, his helmet flips around his head. It reminds me of Braden Fisher's hat, which used to always come off after every pitch. I mean, come on, guys, we're the Dodgers. We have enough money surely to buy a helmet that fits. I joke because Damon Keith chooses the the helmet that's a little bit loose because he likes it for some reason. But hey, Damon Keith is starting really to hit his stride. 268 on the season, and he is 8 for his last 22. And we know just how hard he hits the ball. So good to see Damon Keith starting to hit the ball and get in his groove. He usually does about this time of year. So hopefully he can continue that and create some consistency with all of those big skills that he has. And then good to see Taylor Young get a couple of hits last night. It's been a slow start for the all-time hits leader in the history of Louisiana Tech. It's been a slow start for him. Not going to hide around that, but it was good. You know, that this is what a guy like this guy does. You bunt for a base hit, then you just slap one right back up the middle, and you go about your business. So that was a lot of fun to watch Taylor Young, TY, the all-time hits leader at Louisiana Tech, have a big game last night. And this is Jose Rodriguez. What a cool story last night was for him. Of course, we talk about him all the time and how good he is, and so some of the reasons, the extension, the great changeup, the way that it looks like he crossfires, but he actually doesn't, that kind of thing. But the cool part of that is he came in with runners on first and second because Clayton Kershaw reached his 60-pitch pitch limit and came in and stranded the 2 runners that Clayton Kershaw left him. So you knew that had to be a feather in Jose Rodriguez's cap, the fact that he stranded both runners that were put on base by Clayton Kershaw. So good job, Jose Rodriguez. And we're going to flip now down to Great Lakes, the high Great Lakes Loons. This is Josue de Paula, and really just kind of what I wanted to show you here. Another base hit to the opposite field. That is, the plate discipline, and then the fact that Josue de Paula does as good a job as any young hitter in the game of using the opposite field. So I want to show you that. That just kind of makes it look easy. And then who got the ball for the start last night? Luke Fox. Luke is a young man who had the Tommy John. He kind of came back and had some limited outings last year. Going to get let off the leash this year. The first couple of outings have been whatever. Last night was good. This is a young man. Remember, the Dodgers got him out of Duke a couple of summers ago. 4 innings for Luke Fox. 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So he did a great job of that right there, just getting ahead in the count with multiple pitches. And that slider is actually a knuckle, and it's at 82-85. So that's a knuckle slider, knuckle slurve, if you will. Great movement on his pitches. Fastball is usually in the 93 to 97 range. The knuckle slider and the fastball played really well off of each other. Then he has a shorter slider at 88 to 91. So that's what you're seeing right there from Luke Fox. A good night last night for him for High A Great Lakes. And then another young man who had good college experience at LSU that had a good night, but not a good night, stole the show, no doubt. This is Jordan Thompson. Actually, his last 2 at-bats stole the show. Here you see top of the 8th here with a double, and then he had the grand slam that really kind of gave the Dodgers, the Loons, I should say, the breathing distance that they absolutely needed for last night's game. Here comes the grand slam right here. So young man that's hitting in the 260s right now, nothing that's just steps out to you, but I wanted to show you the grand slam and the double he had last night. So a big game for Jordan Thompson, a middle infield prospect in the Dodgers organization. Good athlete, some fairly long levers, not overly tall, but his levers are fairly long. I can play shortstop, play second base, probably play third base. Has a good potential to have a good hit tool that you see right there. So what an incredible last 2 at-bats for Jordan Thompson with the grand slam in his last at-bat. And this is liftoff from Logan Wagner. Logan Wagner, wow. Right-handed. He has 3 home runs on the year right-handed, but this one right here, excuse me, let me back up. He has 3 home runs on the year. Last night, that one there is the first one right-handed. So I wanted to show you the home run right-handed from Logan Wagner, another young man that really has fought injury and fought to get himself back onto the field and has done a good job of doing that and making himself a factor again. And as he stacks at bats, I really think that you're going to see the explosive nature of the things that he can do. We'll see what kind of career, of consistency he creates with his offensive game. So exciting to see him. And we're going to go down to the Rancho level now. I wanted to show you a couple of pitchers you probably never heard of. This is Logan Tabling right here, a right-hander out of the University of Illinois. He was signed as an undrafted free agent. In his last outing, he has just been absolutely dominant. And he's that guy that can throw one inning. He can be a fireman. He can be a multi-inning guy. Tabling out of Illinois. His last outing, not last night, but on Sunday, whatever that would have been, it went 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks. And on the year, Tabling has yet, of course, small sample size, 6 1/3 innings. No runs so far for Tabling. 1 walk, a whip of 0.47. So what you're seeing here is a big mix. Started a lot of games in Illinois. Fastball, sweeper, curve, cutter, and change, which is why you're seeing the multiple innings, because you need multiple innings to get to that many pitches. Fastball is usually 94 to 96. It tops at 97, and it rides the top of the zone very well. So wanted to show you Logan Tabling. I've been trying to get to him in a couple of shows, but just had too many other guys to get to, so finally had a day where I felt like I could do that. And then another young guy, Christian Zasweta, had an outing on Sunday, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, and he has had back-to-back great starts with Rancho Single A, giving up just 1 run in his last 12 and his last 2 starts, 9.1 innings, has 12 Ks in those 2 starts, just 3 walks. So Zazueta, you can see he's got long levers, 20-year-old. You remember the Caleb Ferguson trade. Zazueta came over in that Caleb Ferguson trade, and just he does a great job with command. He has a fastball, changeup, slider. His calling card is not just control, but command. He's going to sit in the low 90s. His changeup and slider have shown a lot of promise. So I wanted to show you Christian Zazueta and the good outing that he had on Sunday for Rancho Cucamonga, and just kind of get him on the board as far as the job that he is doing in 2025 so far in the early season for Rancho. And then last night, we're going to jump now all the way up to the AAA level, if I can get my video on the board. And this is Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller threw for AAA Oklahoma City last night. Went 5 innings. That's good. He was stretched out to 5 innings. He gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts, but then again, 5 walks. And, you know, I've said a couple different times now, choose one of your fastballs. I prefer the slider. He threw his 4-seam last night, and then he split time in his secondaries between his curveball and changeup, which is probably a pretty good idea, because I think the best version of Bobby Miller, probably his best secondary, is that pitch there, is changeup. So he split time between his changeup and his curveball last night in terms of secondaries, but did not throw a sinker a whole lot. At least that's what TrackMan for Baseball Savant showed. So he stayed dedicated to his 4-seam, threw his 4-seam for a strike over 50%. So it wasn't so much his fastball command, it was his secondary command. So 5 walks for Bobby Miller. It's going to be baby steps. We saw it the other day. Not ready for major league action. He needs to string several different starts together where he starts commanding the baseball and stop walking people and get to a situation to where he doesn't give up free baseball. Because right now, it doesn't matter with major league hitters, even minor league hitters. If you give up free baseball, nobody's stuff is explosive enough to continue to get yourself out of jams if you continue to do that. So Bobby Miller, hey, he's back on the mound. ERA is just 2.65 at the AAA level, which is good, but we see that doesn't translate to the major leagues when you have 5 walks. So got to clean that up, but he did feature his 4-seam last night and did a pretty good job throwing strikes with it. So, hey, that's going to be it for the Down the Farm segment. Don't forget, next up we have Coach Holt. We're going to talk all about the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Cubs game last night. So let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Holt. I don't even know where to start, man. Terrible pitching. When I say terrible pitching, hitting in the major league level is all about hitting mistakes. The Dodgers threw about 17 mistakes last night. And when you throw mistakes against the best team, offensive team in the National League, you don't get them back. And so that's kind of what happened to the Dodgers last night in a nutshell.
No, it's no doubt. We always look for quote unquote excuses when the Dodgers only walked, I think, maybe 4 people. I think May walked 3 of them. It wasn't a game of I think they had 1 error. So you usually go, hell, we don't play good defense. You walk people. No, it's exactly what you said. That and we said this from the opening series case. I know I did, and you agreed with me, or you might have said it, but the Cubs got a good ball club. The Dodgers won 2 in Japan. I heard that some people, even some of my buddies that are Cubs fans, like, oh, here we go. I said, you guys got a good team. I mean, the Dodgers were very fortunate to sweep them there. And then, of course, they come into Dodger Stadium and do their thing. The Cubs are a good team. They've got a couple of shorts, maybe a little. My buddy Brent Antoine out there, the big law Cub fags, he thinks he didn't help their bullpen much or the third base situation. That's coming from a Cub fan, but
and those both reared their head last night.
Yes, that's exactly. He texted me that same thing during the game. Man, they did. I don't know how this game's going to end, but I can't. They did not address third base or the relief, and it's going to bite us. But anyway, what a good team. I looked up there. Of course, I look at the Dodgers. As you look at the box score, you pop over, look at the batting average. You look at the Cubs. It's Tucker's hitting 320. I mean, their dudes are hitting. I think a lot of 270s, 280s through there in their lineup. Like you said, I guess the best. I guess they're still the same. They scored the most runs anybody in the majors or in the National League. So, a very good ball club. It's Wrigley Field at night. What a great atmosphere. And you're just hoping the Dodgers will hold on. But like you said, Case, I mean, the home run, I mean, to tie the game was right down center cut, right down the shitter, whatever you want to call it. I mean, a catcher's not going to miss. A big league catcher is not going to miss that one. I don't know what Amaya's batting average is. I know he's not horrible, but he sure didn't miss that one. That one hurt,
and certainly not on last night.
No, and they didn't miss it. And of course, starting out with a guy on second base, all you need is a hit there, and they come through there with that one. So it was a great game. If you look at the big scheme of things, as a baseball fan, as a Dodger fan, you're like, crap. We had 2-3 run leads there and couldn't. Of course, one was early, then one was late, but hit up 3 and couldn't hold it. But that's what happens. It's what happens at times.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And the Dodgers bullpen has been elite. So, I mean, Alex Vesia gives up the home run. Tanner Scott we even said last time, he's been giving up a lot more hard contact than he has in the past. But I tell you this, Coach, and we don't like to make too much out of one game or short sample sizes or anything like that. But we do like to be a fan, and we do like to react, whether we're happy or pissed about something. Little concerned about Dustin May. I mean, not necessarily just the runs he gave up. It happens, no doubt about it. Jackson Ferris had a tough outing last night in Double-A. Clayton Kershaw is a Hall of Famer. He goes and pitched the Double-A game first. Out of the first 3 hitters, 2 of them hit doubles. It's baseball. It happens. So don't want to make too much out of it. But 94-95 on the sinker, I mean, and everything was just right down the middle. And then he went to the thing that was concerning, then he went to a sweeper. Then his sweeper was right down the middle. Then he went to his four-seam. Then his four-seam was right down the middle. The command last night for Dustin May in terms of locating pitches to the part of the zone that were thrown to safety was really bad, and the velo wasn't good. So anything long-term maybe to worry about with Dustin May, you think?
I think there is. I mean, from our stuff, we know what he was in the past. We know what his capability was, what he looked like. And it's like you said, Case, he don't look like that at all. But, to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, so he's gone through hell for a baseball pitcher.
Yes.
He really has. He's worked his tail off to get there. I'll speak of the positives. This is baseball hell for a pitcher, what he's gone through, what he's going through, what some other guys have gone through. So he's trying to work his way back, but it wasn't a good look, long term. If that's what we continue to see, you hope that's it's early for him getting back in the swing of things. Maybe we'll see some improvement there in velo and everything. But, not a good look last night. The Cubs didn't miss much of what he threw up there.
He didn't. And I'll say this about Mookie Betts. He's played probably I expected Mookie. Hey, it's Mookie Betts. He's going to figure it out. He's going to be a good shortstop. Definitely going to be at least league average. None of that defensive part of it surprises me. The one constant theme that you and I have both had since the announcement was made was it's such a taxing position. You're taking an all-star, a Hall of Fame caliber offensive player. You're taxing him more on the defensive side. I think it's going to affect him more offensively than it is defensively.
I think we're already
seeing that.
I think we are. In case we go right back to the guy lost 15, 20 pounds, and he's not like me. He don't have 15, 20 pounds extra hanging around, so, we're not there on a daily basis on what his body's going through, what he's feeling. But like you said, playing shortstop at a major league level, this is no news flash for anybody compared to playing right field in the big league level. Very taxing on everything. He's got a lot of stuff. I'm assuming the game plans, the stuff he goes through with his game plans. I know they position their outfielders. They keep their little cards there, telling them whatever they're doing. But, as far as playing shortstop, there's so much that goes into that position defensively that maybe seeing a combination of both. I don't know. I'm sure the guy's healthy. He's probably eating 12 meals a day, never gains a pound. But he is gaining a pound now because he had to get his weight back up and his strength. So I'd be shocked if he's totally 100%. Hadn't been that long since he lost all that weight. Maybe he feels 100%. His body may be 100%, but his playing ability, I don't think, is back 100% yet.
Offensively,
Offensively, he's not back to 100% yet. We hope he gets there. But like you say, it could be the taxing the position of shortstop and still trying to come back from the, I'll call it devastating. For a guy his size to lose 15, 20 pounds at the start of the season, that's pretty devastating. So I know he's getting back into that, but getting back into quote-unquote playing shape, I think, is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Hitting shape, let's call it. His defense.
Yeah, imagine Gavin Lux doing it coming off of a completely, a torn up knee. That was a little bit tougher than Dodgers fans give him credit for. So,
and by the way, we're going to change position in the major league level. By the way, you're changing it now, and when the season starts in 2 weeks. Yeah, we didn't get. I don't think we did, but I don't think a lot of people gave him enough credit for the crap he was going through there. Anyway,
no doubt. So, kind of as a coach, the way you run the gambit is. You said it the other day, your first initial is all the stuff that went to hell in a handbasket first. Those are the first things that come to your mind. Well, this is what we didn't do. We didn't do this. Yeah. My God, we suck at that. We got to fix this tomorrow. And 2 o'clock workouts or what? That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Yeah. And then when you run through all that, then you start looking for all the silver linings. Okay, well, what are the things that we did tonight that we can actually address, that we can build on and take positives out of from this game? And so I would say this, the Dodgers offense has been struggling. I've been bitching and moaning and whining and complaining probably more than anybody on earth about this offense being too boom or bust. It's too inconsistent. Well, you've heard it, Coach. You don't want to hear it again.
I got you. I'm with you.
So what I'll say is this. Is there any silver lining to the fact that the Cubs forced the Dodgers that have to keep up with them offensively yesterday? And in a weird way, even in a loss, it may jumpstart this offense to be the offense we want to see?
No, they had to fight offensively yesterday. And it's good to see Pages have a pretty good day. Some guys, it's not good to show, hey, I know, 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. I mean, you're seeing some stuff. Mookie, I think, is 0 for 4. There are some things that aren't silver linings, but, it's a daily game. We don't read too much into that yet. But, no, it was a game. Hey, you guys better get hooked up or you're going to get your ass kicked because you come out and get a 3 spot the top of the first, feeling pretty good about yourself. Then you come around out there and the Cubs give you a nod on the head with a 5 spot there and a bunch squared up a bunch of stuff. So, that's immediately you're going, oh crap! This, we better stick with it. And the Dodgers did. They came from behind. The Cubs had big hits, and the Dodgers were able to come from behind. Had a great 7th inning there to take the lead, go up 10-7, but just couldn't hold on. But no, I agree with it. That's a silver lining. That's probably. What do we have? 9 hits? We have 9 or 10 hits.
9 hits.
Yeah, had 9 hits. Cubs had 17, unfortunately, but it didn't matter. We were still right there with a chance of winning the ball game. With 9 hits. So it's some guys that hadn't been hitting good. It's good to see that. Like I said, Pages and some guys who had a couple of hits. I can't remember all. I know Pages had 2.
Will Smith had 2. Tommy Edman had 2.
Theo had 2.
And Teo had 2.
Yeah. So, some guys, of course, Will's been real consistent all year doing it, and it's good to see. But then you're seeing some offers there that are still troubling. Like with Max Muncy. I'm not ready. Yes. Everybody's ready to burn him at the stake. I noticed this morning on social media for a lot of reasons. Whatever. I'm not in that level there, but. Well, we need him to be a run producer. We always talked about he had the strikeouts. You're going to get that with him, but he's a run producer.
And for you, guys like you and I who like the contact guys, we come from a little older school overall type of offensive game. He's a struggle for us to like in terms of our offensive profile. And so for you to defend him to the social media is a pretty big deal.
Well, I try to look at it in a professional way.
Yes.
It's easy to jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, I was pissed last night when we had to go ahead and run it third and he didn't get him in. But, I'm like everybody else. But the big scheme of things, and you're the one that talked me down off the ledge on this one a couple of years ago when I was bitching about Muncie. I wish we'd have let him go.
Austin talks me down, so there's a chain reaction there.
Let's get on. So we'll give Austin the credit of being a level-headed guy. What a
That's
great
where
guy.
it starts.
Austin is awesome. I'm glad he's around. Glad Coach Barracoff's around too to give us some level heads. But you kind of talked me down off that one because I was. First, I told you, me and Rex having a cold one there in Kansas City a couple. So we had it all figured out. We're going to get Dansby Swanson, or we're going to keep Turner. Neither one happened. We figured, Muncie would be allowed to walk, and he wasn't. They re-signed him right there. I think at that time I don't remember, it was 3 years, whatever, and that's fine. But you're the one that taught me that he was a run producer. Yes, he struck out too much. There was some missed contact, but then he gets in the playoffs last year, and he gets a lot of walks. So you said, well, he's doing some things there. We know he's a very productive. I think he's played great third base in last week. What I say, good Lord, he's made some great plays, some game-saving plays in Texas. It's like, wow, that's a hell of a play.
He did.
Some short hops and some whatever. So that was the biggest concern was the defense and the strikeouts. So the defense playing better. He needs to go back to being we're going to get 230. I don't know his lifetime batting average is. It's not real high, but he's been a run producer. He hits home runs. He drives in runs. We need to see that version of Max Muncy. Like I said, I'm not ready to burn him at the stake like everybody else, but we're too deep into it now. You don't have an option there. You're not. Nolan Arenado's not going to come walking in now. It's what I was wanting, but anyway, it's just me talking because I love the guy. But he's not come walking in the building, anytime soon. So you've got what you've got. We just need him to be Max Muncy again. I won't expect him to be something he's not, but we need him to be a run producer for us again. Somewhere
close to what we're expecting out of him. And Kike Hernandez, man, he's struggling too, and that's not a situation that is surprising. It is frustrating for me. I mean, we're not going to sit. We've talked about it in the last show. Not going to sit here and dwell on it. But how about this for your 6, 7, and 8? Nico Horner, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Miguel Amaya. Miguel Amaya, by the way, is hitting 278. So obviously a very good 8-hole there. Then you have Workman, the third baseman, that Coach Antoine was talking about that the Cubs did not address.
Right.
That's what the bottom of a lineup on the best team in offensive baseball right now. That's what the bottom of a lineup looks like right there. Nico Horner, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Miguel Amaya. That's a really good bomb. That adds length. It allows you to score in multiple innings.
Look at that. I mean, you just mentioned Horner's 310, Armstrong's 276, Amaya 278. A hell of a lot different. That's why they're the best offensive team in maybe in baseball right now. They're bottom three. Those are good major league averages. 310's an outstanding major league average. We're deep enough into it now. The sample size is 270, 280 up to 310. That's your bottom three hitters. That gives you all you need to know why the Cubs are who they are right now offensively. And like I said, I wasn't just trying to make Antoine feel good when we swept them in Japan. I really felt that way. You felt the same way too, just watching them. The Dodgers, hey, played well, got some things that happened, but you could tell then that's Crow Armstrong's a budding superstar. I think they signed him to an extension. They were talking about doing it. I think they were going to. Don't blame them, one bit on that one. And getting Kyle Tucker, wrapped up. What a stud that guy. He's hit 320 also. So he's been an elite major league player for a few years here. So that's a very good ball club. And when you're in Wrigley, keeping up. Got to keep up pace, man. The game, the game tying home runs in the basket. Tommy probably catches that. Tommy was right there. I mean, he jumped. He probably catches that the basket in there. But you know what? That's the great thing about Wrigley Field. It is there, and it's always been there. And somebody will drop his beer in there and lose a cap in there. It's just it's the way it is. I think Tommy would have caught the ball if the basket wasn't there.
Yeah. By the way, this is off topic from the Dodgers, but we grew up watching, or at least I grew up watching the Cubs on WGN, listening to Harry Carey. And by the first inning, he was really coherent. By about the fifth inning, he'd had a Budweiser or two, and it was I just hope they don't bring in Hideki Arabu because we're going to go 7 or 8 minutes trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. Right? Boo-boo.
I pronounce backwards. How do you say that one? I love
Yeah, and so you got Harry Carey trying to pronounce Hideki Arabu. Yeah. And then right next to him, you got Steve Stone, who's like, Well, he's going to throw him a 2-2 slider here. It's going to break to the outer half, and he's going to hit it just off the end of the bat.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 2-hopper to the shortstop. Jerome Walton here, or not Jerome Walton, but Sean Dunston here.
Yeah.
He's going to flip it over to Rhino, and they're going to turn it, and then like one pitch later, exactly as Steve Stone described it, exactly what happened in the game.
That was Harry's Austin Brubaker. That was Harry's Austin Brubaker.
No doubt.
Steve Stone.
So you had like the contrasting styles.
The guy who's right on top of things, yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of an aside for Dodgers fans who don't have a history with watching the Cubs like we do here in Oklahoma. I can remember like yesterday, the first night game at Wrigley. I can remember Jerome. I said Jerome Walton. I gave it away. He had the big game. He was the center fielder in 1989. Do you remember that, Coach? The first night game?
Yeah, it got rained out. I mean,
yes, it did, didn't it? Yes.
The first night game got rained out. My brother-in-law was a big Cub fan. You know Bill, rest his soul. Was a big Cub fan at the time. My sister turned him into a Cardinal fan because he, Mama ruled the roost there. But anyway, he gave me a picture of the first night game in Chicago with the lights on, and in the background you see the storm. But I remember, that's why I remember it got rained out. So I had one of those, panoramic deals of that. So it got rained out, and me and Smalley made the road trip, I think, that year. That was 89, right? Me and Smalley went up there in 1990 of first time I'd ever been there.
That wasn't a bad year, by the way.
Yeah,
89.
It was. We went, and our boy Doug DeCenzo was playing left field for the Reds, I guess it was. Yeah,
that may have been the year he went the entire year without an error.
Yeah. Doug was playing left. We played down, sat down third base line, and Doug was playing left field. So that was a great time. That's my first and only trip to this point to Wrigley Field. But what a great thing! But the light standards are there. But it's a day game that we saw. But that great history there. Wrigleyville down there. What a great area. Cub fans, even when they're losing, they're maybe some of the best. They are some of the best in baseball. There's no May to it. It's kind of like Red Sox fans and Dodger fans, Yankee fans. You have some of those elites that they may be bitching while they're there, but at least they're there, and they're always going to be there. So, you're right. I watched every – I'm a baseball coach. I got off my job every day at noon, and I was in front of the TV, even though I was especially excited when they played the Dodgers because we didn't have a chance of watching the Dodgers. Me and Rex used to drive out here in the country, try to pick it up on the radio when they were playing the Cardinals, just so we could listen to Mike Shannon and Jack Buck. There's another great twosome of historical names of baseball. So great memories there of being baseball fans, Case, like you and your dad, me and my brothers.
What a great play by the Wizard. Yes. I can hear that like it was yesterday.
And Mike Shannon would be a little lit up by the time in the game.
Oh, no doubt.
Well, I don't think Jack Buckner, but Shannon
don't ever bring up advanced analytics in front of Mike Shannon. It's going to be 4 innings about how freaking stupid every single one. It was absolutely.
He had a few Budweisers.
Yeah, he sure did. He was one of the. I got to meet him several different times.
Great to listen.
One of the greatest human beings and greatest broadcasters of all time.
You betcha.
So, kind of wanted to give Dodgers fans just some background just on how ridiculously awesome Wrigley Field is. Got to get off on Addison Avenue, and it's a party as soon as you get off the L train there in Chicago. So we talked about how good the Cubs 6 through 9 hole is consistently. You went over the averages. Well, how about 4 hits last night for the Dodgers 6 through 9? When you can finally get Will Smith down there to the 6 hole, then if Andy Pawheads can have the type of night he had last night, that's how you create an offense that scores in multiple innings just like the Cubs did. So the 6 through 9 last night for the Dodgers were a lot better.
I think that's the key to the whole thing. We talked about it last year, Case, the regular season. It was big in the playoffs. How many times did the Dodgers bottom the lineup, turn it over, and get back to the big dog?
Yes.
Shohei didn't have a great World Series, but 1 through 9 collectively, they were good offensively in the playoffs and during the regular season. So, that's a big key for the Dodgers. It's nice if Shohei come up with somebody on base. They have to throw him something, some point or another. And he is what he is, one of the greatest players on the face of the earth. And I don't think there's any doubt Mookie's going to be Mookie. He's not washed up yet. There's no signs of him being washed up. He's just coming off a slow start. But like I said, he's gone through somewhat of a hell for a 170-pound guy. What do they list him at to lose 20 pounds? Good Lord. He's fighting just to get back to where he was. I'm sure he's eating plenty and getting his weight training in and getting his strength up. But the day-to-day of baseball, he'll get there too. But, and Freddie, he's fighting through some stuff too. I still see him kind of running gingerly I mean, you can tell him. I mean,
he'll take a swing every now and then too. That you go,
Yeah, he made a good play at that Texas, and he had to sprint to the back, and you kind of see little hitches get along, and so. But we know his toughness. He ain't coming out, unless he absolutely has to. He played everything last year. Was MVP. The story I could go on about that guy. So, but you're right. It's the bottom of the order. You just see the contrast there. The averages of the Cubs bottom three and the Dodgers bottom three, and that is so big for all of us. Case at Guthrie Blue Jays, Stillwater Pioneers, same thing. You got to have somebody. As a matter of fact, I'll tell a story. You hit 9-hole for me because you were a fastball hitting machine. So you get up there and you had a good batting average, and they'd see Casey Porter straight. Hey, 9-hole. We'd always yell out just ourselves. We'd yell out from the dugout, just hey, 9-hole, throw him the fastball.
Good.
So but I always was trained, taught, learned. You wanted a good hitter at 9-hole.
Yeah.
And that's what you were, and that's why you hit 9-hole, to get back to the top of the order and do some stuff. So, nothing's changed. That's the beautiful thing about an old coach like me, that part hadn't changed.
Right.
You got to turn the lineup over, have whatever terminology you want to use. You need to get some guys that can get you some hits down there in the bottom of the order to get back to the quote-unquote big guys.
Yeah. 100%. So it's great to see Andy Pages have a big night last night. How about Will Smith? I mean, how good is he? He threw out Nico Horner. Then he hits the home run. Then he hits the double. I mean, seriously, Coach, with Ohtani kind of being – of course, Ohtani's been great, but he's been up and down.
Yeah.
We talk about Mookie Betts. Freddie reminds me, before we move on, Freddie reminds me of, like, me getting older. Like, I can still do everything that I used to be able to do. There's no doubt about it. I mean, but I have to prepare a little bit more. I can't just get up and go do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so as we get older, we can still do things, but you got to, you got to drink the right amount of water. You got to go, okay, now is there a hole around here I might step in or something? That kind of reminds me of Freddie right now. He can still execute and perform on a baseball field, but it's like there's a process to making sure that he does it in a way that doesn't get him hurt again. It just kind of feels like that to me.
Yeah, and I think that the Dodgers training staff, along with Freddie taking so much good care of his body, and I haven't been to many pre-games. He's always out there getting the pre-game work in with Dino and the guys, and Chris Woodward doing his picks, working on his pick, doing everything he's got to do to get himself ready for the game physically. But as far as his body, he's doing the same thing. So I agree with you. When we're younger, you just go spur the moment, go jump into it. It's like the Hard Knocks few years ago. I remember the team had the offensive line coach, the big belly. Every time he talked, the belly would rattle. I can't remember the guy what team it was, but I love those Hard Knocks, by the way. Just watching the one of the Red Sox right now, too. That's pretty dang good if you hadn't seen it, the new one. But anyway.
Yeah, it is.
This guy, somebody said something about stretching. He said, hey, they stretch for the, Iwo Jima, those guys stretch for them. Or, D-Day, those guys get off those boats and start stretching for the hell no. That's a spontaneity. Those guys are young cats, they're doing their job and just going like
they're 19.
Yeah, Freddie, as we talked about Manny Mota, the great Manny Mota, I hope he's recuperating from his stroke. But the great line Joe Garagiola always had about Manny, he can jump out of bed and go 2 for 3. He's just the guy that can just hit. Same deal. He can just get out of bed, walk out on the field, and get 2 or 3 hits.
Yes.
That's a spontaneity. Like you say, as we get older, you got to plan ahead. Hey, I'm going to be able to eat. I better see how much water I can drink. I better get some like Gatorade in me, some electrolytes. Us old guys here. But back in the old days, I'd have helped just go. And like you said, I think, Freddie's makeup, I don't know the man personally, what I've seen and heard. He's doing everything he possibly can to be ready every day. And he's elite. He's elite. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to get it done.
God, you mentioned having 2 3-run leads. And Alex Vesia, he had thrown – 3 just really dirty sliders to Kyle Tucker. And you're like, okay, I mean, I can understand where he's trying to throw a third because, I mean, he had it diving in the dirt. He was throwing a couple for strikes. The slider looked really good for Alex Vesia. And then just like the entire night, he just hung one. I mean, he just hung one of them to Tucker. And that's what great hitters do, especially great hitters who are also going well.
Yeah.
If you might throw 5 sliders and 4 of them be great. But the one that you throw that's not, they're not going to give it back to you. And so just give Kyle Tucker credit. Vesia hung one, not game tied, but right back in it, got him back to within 1. That was a disappointing sequence. Obviously, Tucker's very good, though.
No, there's no doubt about it. And there's already talk, not just in baseball in general. That guy, if you had an MVP right now, probably Kyle Tucker. He may be the best player in baseball right now. Yeah. I remember telling Brent Antoine when they got him, I thought, what a great pickup, for the Cubs. That was a great pickup for those guys. The Dodgers had great pickups, and he was giving me hell about that. I said, hey, what about you guys? I'd like to have a Kyle Tucker too. There's our right fielder. But anyway, he's a great player. Like you said, he right now he's not missing much. That lineup, even when we played them in Japan, even though we were winning, I didn't ever feel easy with their lineup.
No, you said it.
Pete Crow Armstrong, that guy had a hell of a year last year. What a great young talent.
Great athlete.
He's hitting he's hitting 7-hole. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
But and of course the three games at Dodger Stadium, same thing. Hell, every damn inning, never felt comfortable. Like, we'll get these guys. Hell, they are what they are, and it's a good offensive team. Yeah. And Brent's right; they probably are a little shorthanded relief pitching and to third base position. But man, that's a good ball club.
Baseball.
Yep.
Baseball is better than fiction, man. You can't make this stuff up. Nope. It barely goes in the basket. You mentioned it earlier. I would have given you $1 million. The game was over with Miguel Maya up there.
Yep.
And 2 outs, and
same
of course Maya's had a good year, but I just thought Tanner Scott would blow him away, and he threw him another middle fastball, and Tanner Scott's been doing that too much this year. I've said very clear. I think he needs to be the closer as it goes on. Things will kind of even themselves out, but you got to admit when we even said this, he's been giving up a lot of hard contact, and man, I know you can't walk that guy to let the winning run get on base. You got to keep you got to just keep it there, because a home run then just ties you, doesn't beat you. So I understand you got to fill it up and challenge there, but that pitch was way too middle from Tanner Scott.
What's even down the Rangers, though? I guess the Sunday's game, the 1-0 game. When last inning was first, second, nobody out in the ninth inning for the Rangers, and he was able to get out of it. But there was some hard contact there too. So I guess we're looking for Tanner, which he has been in the past, of being a Superman, and he's still an elite closer. And I'm like you. He's got to be our closer. Got to have him as our closer. We want him as our closer. But that's something. They'll sit down. He'll sit down with a pitching coach and Dave and everybody, and they'll work through some of that stuff. And those guys have access to everything.
Let's hope.
Just the analytics, the video. Even an old boy like me and you sitting here in Oklahoma can see that's a center cut. 93, something right down the shit.
Yeah.
It's not many people going to miss that one on big league level. So
yeah. Of course, he's not walking as many people this year. That's the good thing.
That's a good thing.
But then we talked about this with Yamamoto. Sometimes you need to be effectively wild. It's almost like he's lost his effectively wild aspect of what's made him good. I don't know. Maybe I'm searching.
I'm thinking we've done that as high school coaches, in Legion coaches' case,
especially left-handers.
Yeah, Pat Hope's maybe the best pitcher I ever coached. Pitched at OSU, had a great career. Pitched him in the College World Series Finals. That was part of his downfalls, that he was always around the plate. Hell, he'd give up some big hits once in a while, not very often, but he walking people. Same way with Tanner. Those guys are digging in and going, hell, they're going over scouting reports too. They're not, they're working for the games too, getting ready, prepared. This guy's going to be around the zone. Be ready. Be ready. He makes a mistake, center cut. You better get after it.
Yeah.
They're going through it too, because this has happened a few times this year, and that's out there. We're talking about it, so you damn sure be sure these guys with all the capability of everything, breaking it down, every 6 inches, how that pitches, whatever they do.
Yes.
Hell, it's amazing. They're not missing that either. So it is what it is. I got confidence that he'll get it worked out. Where, I was talking the other day with a splitter that kept going in the dirt, and everybody they're talking on TV. Me and Rex used to sit around and bitch about Bruce Sutter.
Yes.
None of his pitches end up the damn strike zone, but he's striking. Same thing. It come middle plate, time the guy swing, and Daryl Porter's digging out of the dirt. Whoever the damn catcher was back in those days, Oklahoma City Southeast boy.
Oh yeah. Him and Bobby Mercer and Rusty Hilger.
Yes.
All three of them.
Yeah, we used to always say, hey, Hey, just go up there without a bat and you're going to walk,
Yeah,
That's just
no
a couple Dodger fans pissed off because he's getting us out. But it's like, that bitch never ends up in a strike zone. And he's getting everybody out. So kind of the same thing. And
just don't take your bat with you.
Yeah,
we'll have a better chance.
Slow motion, you're going, well, that's a strike until
it looks so easy to us, too, here watching that.
It's so easy to hit. Hell, it's not.
It's not.
Hardest thing in the world to do is hit a baseball.
It is.
Easiest thing to do is
especially Bruce Sutter's baseball.
Yeah, oh, my God.
Yeah.
What a guy. Looked like he had just come out of the beer joint, threw a uniform on and started, carving up major league hitters, which he did every game. So that's a beautiful part of baseball. That's the stuff I love, the names. We go back, your memories, your childhood, and going through. That's why we're baseball fans. Number one, we're Dodger dogs and Dodger fans, but
100%.
I love baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of how we deal with frustration, maybe a tough defeat is we just kind of reflect on the game itself and all the good parts of it and try to make ourselves a little bit lighter while you try to fix the things that are causing you to have. Of course, the Dodgers have had it's been a weird season, but they have a good record. So, last point on the game last night. Thank God it didn't take very long in the 10th. I mean, I didn't have to sit there. I mean, that was a quick death. Yeah. And I'm different. I'm a baseball purist. You know that, Coach.
Yep.
You can verify that for me.
Yep.
I love the placed runner. I'm the only human being that's a baseball fan. You're probably going to jump to the screen and come kick my ass for even saying that. I've seen too many games at the minor league level, the college level. I know Oklahoma State played Texas a couple years ago, and then the temperature dropped. Next thing you know, it's 32 degrees.
Nobody's going to score. Yeah.
And nobody's going to score. Nobody scored in 6. I like the placed runner. I think it ends games faster, and it makes for a more hey, should you bunt as the visiting team for the one run? I like it personally, but at least the death was quick last night in the 10th.
No, I personally like it. I'll be honest with you because it's a level playing field for everybody. Both teams get that opportunity. Your last guy is going to be at second base, and you can make the choice. You want to bunt him over, get him at third with one out. Nobody's going to bunt hell anymore. I mean, they wouldn't call as me and you would. I'd bunt him over, then hell, I may bunt him home. I may squeeze him after that. I may bunt him to third and squeeze, but that's a damn good play. Let's send that into Roberts. But anyway, no, I like it. I'll be honest with you because everybody gets the same shot. They've got a guy on second, we get one on second, whatever. And I'm like you. There's no, I think we'll see the end of the 17, 18 inning game. You'll get one.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a 17 inning game.
And like we said, that's a snowball effect. That affects both teams for weeks.
Yeah, it does.
Not just that night.
Well, I wouldn't see a 17 inning game. I would have tuned it out by the 11th or 12th. It would have, especially if they're not scoring.
Yeah, I agree. I probably wouldn't have sat through it, but I sat through a 16-inning one Dodger Cardinal game up there in St. Louis on my mom's 90th birthday because Matt was playing, and then we was going to go. Matt had us on the field the next day for batting practice.
Oh wow! Cool.
It's so damn long. That game went so long on Friday night, and it's so damn hot on Saturday. They didn't have bat practice on Saturday. So we got to miss that opportunity. We was going to get down the field and watch BP, but it is what it is. We still got to see him. So what a great memory.
All right, Coach. Hey, man, this has been a lot of fun. I think I've run through my emotions. I think I'm good now. So this has been therapy for me. So, hey, sweet lid, by the way. I should have said that at the beginning.
Tulsa Drillers, baby. Got the drip. They got the drip. The Oilers. It used to be the old Oilers, Tulsa Drillers. And I love our again, how fortunate are we in Oklahoma case? We got AA and AAA right here in Oklahoma City. I know you're all over the place. I know you practically own Bricktown down there. You're the man down there. So how fortunate are we? I'm like you. I see the Dodger dog needs a walk. Hey,
he does.
Hey, just another day of the game of baseball. It's a great game. Cubs got a hell of a team. Dodgers got a hell of a team, and they play. It won't be too long. They'll be playing again. So we got an afternoon game, I think, don't we? Or evenings? Okay. Anyway, we'll play again. And love being a Dodger dog and take that Dodger dog for a walk. Love you, Case.
Yeah, I love you too, Coach. Great to see your face. So, hey, thanks to Coach Holt, and thanks to everybody out there for tuning in. All you Dodgers dogs, you are the best. So, hey, until next time, again, thank you for tuning in. And as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.